Hello and welcome to Nerds Without Pants, episode 15? 15, yes, 15. Excellent.
Point one.
I am Julian, and I'm joined, as always, by Patrick.
That's me.
And from Chud.com, JustPressPlay.net, and LongIsland.com, we have Rob.
Ew.
I'm feeling really good that I'm getting all of that every week now. Every episode. It's a mouthful.
Hey, I'll always give you a mouthful.
Ooh.
Zing.
So, we're off to a smashing good start. We actually don't have a plan for this episode. Normally we bring you like a really dedicated topic after the games we're playing and everything. But, honestly, oh crap. No, I know what I wanted to do for this. Oh, okay. We're gonna reset. I'll keep the intros, but I remember the reason that I wanted to do this episode. I can't believe I forgot.
Oh, that's great, because I gotta take my pants off.
This week, on a very special Nerds Without Pants.
Way back in the 1980s, secret government employees dug out famous guys and ladies and made out using genetic copies. Now they're prone to sexy teens. Now they're gonna make it if they try. Loving, learning, sharing, judging. Time to laugh and shiver and cry. Time to watch Clone High. Energetic and engaging Clone High. Our age is entertaining Clone High. Our plans are never boring. Who am I? There's a place that you can go to, and it's never very far. Famous people you can live through if you don't know who you are. Why there's so much to live up to, expectations are so high. I'm not crying, it's my context. There must be something in my eye. You all must watch Clone High. Inspired and organic.
The whole reason I wanted to do this episode was because I wanted to put in the Clone High theme song.
Way back in the 1980s.
Yes. Best MTV cartoon. Like
Wait,
that and Daria.
Sorry. Do I have pants on if, like, they're, like, around my hips, or do I have to take them off completely?
I'd say that counts.
I'd say that counts.
Yeah.
Alright.
That's properly pantsless.
Clone High was such a fucking hysterical show.
Oh, it was. Cinnamon, Scudworth.
Where are my bitches?
He calls everybody that. Don't know why.
I have an inside joke with my buddy Paul. He gave his sister a kidney, because she had some sort of disease and it messed up her kidney or whatever, and he was a perfect match, obviously being her brother. So he gave her his kidney, which was really, obviously an awesome gesture, and he's a great guy, great family. He's a super talented actor and comedian. And, we used to do the joke from, Clone High when Gandhi would show Cleo his scar from giving her his kidney, and then the one kidney would look over where the other one was and go, I miss him. So we used to do that about his one remaining kidney, missing the other kidney.
Oh, it's excellent. Yes, and if you're listening to this and don't know what the hell we're talking about, you should seek out Clone High any way that you can, because it was genius. So good.
It was genius.
So, yeah, this is the type of meandering discussion that you can expect to look forward to for this episode of Nerds Without Pants, everybody. I think we've done some gaming stuff, though, so we'll kind of, hit those bases like normal, but then it's going to be just kind of a free-form discussion of whatever we want to bring to the table this week. So, I guess I'll start with you, Patrick. Have you been doing any gaming stuff before we get into, like, the miscellany?
Oh yeah, it was going down big time these last 2 weeks. All the PS Plus things that are happening have just been putting my wallet to shame, even though I'm saving money. But I did play some betas that were interesting. I don't know, exclusive. Yeah, but have you guys heard of Dust 514?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, the EVE Online tie-in game.
That's right. And I thought it was going to be, more like Excel spreadsheety, and I don't know, something I haven't really played that much of. I was actually excited for an Excel spreadsheet, but I didn't get that at all. I didn't dive too much into the microtransactions, was sort of separated from other games, but from what I played, it was kind of underwhelming, and I wanted to be excited about, like, you know, an exclusive PS3 game fanboy that I am, but I also had to be realistic, and, you know, it was polished graphically, and, you know, it had a especially great intro, which Julian and I both love, but does it really separate itself from, like, the other first-person shooters out there? Not really. It's like a cover-based shooter, and for the, like, level I was playing, you just, like, run around different cover stations throughout the whole environment, and it doesn't really seem like you're part of a bigger war. It's just like this, like 12 on 12 or something, like free for all kind of, and, like, people don't really work together that much, and it took me like 10 minutes to get into the first game. Maybe that's because it was the beta, but it felt the same for me, like, than every other first person shooter I've played online. So
yeah, that was when they first announced it and they showed the footage at E3. I was just like, and then when they started saying what it actually was, I got interested. I mean, I don't play EVE Online, but my cousin used to, and I'm fascinated by that whole like economy and world that they've built. But I don't know. It seems like a weird thing to try to offshoot from that really deep MMO.
Yeah, it's like definitely like the exact opposite kind of a game than you would expect, and I don't know if it really works that well, but I mean, they have to be doing it for some reason. Somebody must think it works well, and more power to them. I just don't think I'm going to be a part of it.
Yeah, and probably, like, once it goes live, that's when the interesting stuff will happen, because the whole thing that it hinges on is, you know, connecting with EVE Online, from what I understand. So I doubt that's in there in the beta right now.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't that many people in it, so hopefully there's going to be way more, like millions more people, but we'll see. Because it's not even on, like, PC. I've heard people saying, like, I can't wait to play it when it finally comes home. Like, but yeah, there was that, and then I played another beta for God of War Ascension, like the multiplayer beta, and I wasn't really happy with that either. Like, I was hacking and slashing and other people in real life, which is, like, you know, great and stuff, but I actually kind of want to think when I'm on a game or playing on the internet, and I just felt I was able to kill people just by pressing square a bunch of times. I tried it on purpose, like.
Did you get a Power Stone-y vibe from it? Because that's what I got from looking at the trailer, and that kind of piqued my curiosity.
Well, I never really played that. That was Dreamcast, right?
Yeah.
I didn't ever play that, but, like, my friend had it, and I guess you could say that. I don't know how much of a hack and slash game it was, though, but from, like, the over the top view, it kind of looked like it.
Yeah. I'm really not into this new God of War. I think if it was a different character or a different pantheon of gods, that'd be one thing, but I just can't get up for it.
They finished his story, and I don't know, if you're gonna do a prequel, do it like 5 years from now or something. Like, I don't know, that last story it was enough.
Yeah.
It's the end.
6 was enough. Or a 5 was enough, whatever.
Whatever it was.
It doesn't matter. It's more Kratos. He's angry.
Oh, Zeus!
He can kill his family. So I played a lot more games, but what about you guys real quick? Any betas you've been playing?
Actually, I started a beta, but I haven't played much of it. It's a new free-to-play game for PC called Path of Exile, and it's kind of a, you know, dungeon crawler Diablo-style game, and it's pretty solid. You know, it's got what you expect from those type of games as far as, like, the, you know, classes to choose from. They're pre-made, so you can't change your appearance, but of course it's all about the loot and the grinding. But the interesting thing is that the leveling up system takes a cue from Final Fantasy X of all places, where you have basically like this sphere grid where, you know, you unlock nodes on this grid and you can kind of build your character out that way. And it looked massive, like even bigger than stuff that I'm accustomed to from, like, the Square games. So I didn't really play it too much, but it seemed pretty interesting. Also signed up for the betas for Final Fantasy XIV and Elder Scrolls, but, you know, who knows if I'll get them accepted.
Oh, well, that's cool. I mean, I don't really like the grinding that much, but, you know, it's something.
Yeah. Rob, how about you? Because I've got one other thing, but I'm going to rant a little bit when I talk about it.
I really haven't been playing too much. I've been doing a shit ton of other things, but I've been playing some indie stuff lately, which is fun, and that's really about it. I mean, I'm still playing New Vegas. I'm still playing, I played some Halo 4 or whatever. Really tempted to get those new maps for Halo 4. I mean, they're not really that new anymore, but apparently they add a lot to the matchmaking that was missing. I personally don't really feel like there was much missing, even though I will say that a lot of people seem to vote for the map Exile a lot.
A lot.
Yeah.
All the time. Which
is fine. I mean, I understand it's the coagulation equivalent or whatever, but it does get boring, playing it over and over again. So yeah, I played around with some of they introduced, this past week, a Forge, multiplayer playlist, which was really interesting. And it's funny because I was playing with two buddies of mine. One of them is very hardcore about, computer programming and stuff like that. And the first map that loads up, he's like, oh shit, this looks like it was loaded on a Tandy. And he wasn't wrong. And then the second map, looked like an old, Doom 2 map. Like that's the quality, of visuals that this person put into these maps. But I actually like them. I don't know if that playlist is still available. I'm sure it is. But, I would recommend giving some of the Forge maps a play. I know one of our listeners, Michael117 of the, where the hell is he from?
The Colorado 117.
The Colorado 117s. He's big into the Forge stuff. So he could speak to it a lot more. But, this was my first, venture into the Forge world of Halo 4. I dicked around with it in, Halo Reach and I think they introduced it in Halo 3. I played a lot with it in Halo 3. But yeah, it's fun. So I would recommend everybody play that. And New Vegas is getting crazy. Just the one.
I want to check in with your Michelle Rodriguez playthrough.
Yeah. I've joined the Brotherhood of Steel, who is the one faction in every Fallout game that I love, no matter what, whether I agree with them or not, just because I more often than not agree with them. But I'm a member of the Brotherhood of Steel. I'm running around in the power armor, which is the big famous armor that you see associated with Fallout. It's the cover character of Fallout 3, for example. That's a Brotherhood character. But the Brotherhood of Steel in New Vegas kind of takes a back seat in the narrative, which is kind of cool because, they've been sort of a focal point of the whole series up until New Vegas, where there's sort of this like underground group, this like splinter group of military veteran type militants really, and they have their own agenda for the New Vegas and for the Strip and for the people that are in the Vegas wasteland or whatever, the Mojave wasteland rather. But they're not really well regarded. So I was like, fuck this. If I'm going to be like the ultimate hero in this game, I'm going to be a member of the Brotherhood of Steel while doing it, which I didn't do my first time through. So I'm really digging that. And I also helped, the funny thing is, and I'm just kind of circling around this concept of, the different groups in New Vegas. My first time playing through it, there wasn't a single time when Caesar's Legion, who were these like Roman, pseudo warriors, every time they popped up, it was terrifying because they're always accompanied with this really dark, really ugly music. The first time you really meet them, they've laid waste to an entire town and have crucified people and cut off heads and put them on sticks and shit. It's really spooky and creepy and, kind of sets a tone like, yeah, these are the bad guys, everybody, in case you can't tell. So.
They're a little shady.
Yeah. This time around, I'm really trying to focus solely on helping them. So, like, I'm sort of part of the problem as opposed to part of the solution. And a lot of my companions have been like, no, you shouldn't help them. You shouldn't help them at all. They're bad, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh, I don't want to listen to you, even though I kind of like you. And Julian, you'll be happy to hear this. I'm starting to warm up to Felicia Day. A tiny bit.
What?
I still find her repulsive, and until she shows her goods, I have no use for her. But I do find her voice work in Fallout New Vegas to be really good, because she plays the one companion that I'm using, because she's a Brotherhood of Steel member, and her dialogue, the way she delivers it, is so perfect. It's like, okay, I can show a little love to Felicia Day.
What kind of archetype is she? Like,
Oddly enough, she's all hand-to-hand combat, which is really weird for a Brotherhood of Steel character. Usually they focus on utilizing power weapons and stuff like that, and Gatling lasers and stuff. But her character's all like, yeah, give me some brass knuckles, and I'll devastate. So
that's cool. Yeah, it's because I know her originally from like Dr. Horrible, and then the Guild, and I was like, well, okay, this is all she can do. It's just like this kind of mousy, lovable character. But I was pretty impressed when she did that web series for Dragon Age, that series, because she was very tough and very, very hands-on and stuff like that. I keep wanting to buy that expansion for Dragon Age 2, where you get to have her in your party, but I just haven't gotten around to it. So that's cool to hear.
Yeah, and her dialogue, she's very funny in it, and I mean that's a testament to the writing too in New Vegas. She's also a lesbian in the game, which is interesting. It's sort of a part of her backstory.
Interesting. She's a lesbian on Supernatural as well.
Is she? And in the narrative in New Vegas, she holds a little bit of a grudge against the Brotherhood because they exiled her lover. So there's a little bit of conflict there, but they don't really address it too much. So I just like her because she's a Brotherhood character, and she looks badass in power armor, and I don't know. It's me, her, and right now I'm running around with the cyber dog, so it's pretty sweet.
I can't wait to put in the show notes that Rob confesses his love for Felicia Day at last.
Oh, gross.
Such a little person can be so strong, I guess.
And it's funny because her character is small of frame. There are other characters. There's a Nightkin character, which is like a super mutant. She's hulking, and she's, very powerful and crazy. And then there's another female who's tall and lean, and she's great with a rifle. And then there's the Felicia Day character who's, a little stockier. She's not so much mousy because she's devastatingly good looking in the game. But yeah, it's really cool. And when she runs in to start punching things, it's really badass.
Yeah, actually, it's funny because, I've tried to start Fallout 3, like, probably 5 times. And I keep trying to build characters that I don't think is doable for me in the long run, because I keep having this idea of creating like a full-on melee character who's basically like a ninja type guy. But I don't know if I'm not well versed enough in the Bethesda archetype or architecture for their RPGs to probably pull that off, because I feel that's more of like you've played these games a few times, so now challenge yourself by trying to be like all melee. But
that's what I wanted to do this time, because I wanted to go all energy weapons, because usually I'm a straight up bullets and heavy weapons kind of guy. So this time I was like, I want something with a little more finesse. So I'm going all plasma and laser weapons for the most part.
Cool.
But it's cool. And the funny thing is I guess in the subsequent updates since I first played through it, Bethesda and Obsidian made a lot of progress, where the first time I went through, my companions were pretty much worthless in a fight. They did their damage, and they weren't really that helpful. Whereas in Fallout 3, they were pretty much lethal. Like, it was fine if they were going into fighting. They would survive. In New Vegas, they weren't, and now they are. Like, she'll charge into a fight with like 4 rad scorpions, and rad scorpions are just gigantic scorpions that you just come across in the desert, and she'll just punch the shit out of them. It's really, really badass. I've had her get knocked unconscious a couple times, but, there's certain enemies in that game that are just unbelievably cheap, like Deathclaws and Cazadors and stuff. Cazadors are basically flies, but they're poisonous. They're cheap as hell.
And when a companion gets knocked out, is that like ball game over for them and you have to reload, or can you resuscitate them?
They get back up after the fight is over. In Fallout 3, they would die. They would be gone for good.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've heard horror stories of like companions just like vanishing, and that doesn't sound very fun. It's
not. In Fallout 3, I stopped playing. I never finished the what's it called expansion, the UFO, the alien expansion, because when you start it, there's a glitch that kills your dog meat. And I got about halfway through, and I was like, you know what? Fuck this game. If I'm going back to the waste and my dog is dead, I don't give a shit about this anymore. So I stopped playing.
Just like I'm going to stop watching WWE Raw right now because I have it on and muted in the background, and it's Albert and the Funkasaurus, I forget his name, Brodus Clay, and they're doing a lingerie match. So
Albert is from
Test and Albert from TNA,
really?
from back in the day.
Jesus, he's still around?
Well, he apparently went to Japan for a long time, and he came back as a character named Tensai, but it's just Albert. Like he had this really awesome, really involved intro when he first came back, and they were like counting down to him, and now he's just another mid-card loser like he was before.
Is it like the same as the Prince Albert from the 90s, or?
Actually, that was his original name, yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, and then he just started calling himself Albert. And then he hooked up with Test, and they created the tag team Test and Albert, or TNA, which was managed by Trish Stratus. And that's your wrestling trivia for the week.
Oh, yeah.
Nice. Trish Strategery.
Game-wise for me, there's a couple other things, and it's kind of funny. I'm going to rant about something that probably should get a pass, and I'm going to give a pass to something that I should probably give a rant to. So, on my iOS, on my iPhone, I've been playing Final Fantasy All the Bravest, which has been getting like a lot of flack from people, just because, it's been called like the death of the Final Fantasy franchise, blah blah blah, because it's basically just this very simple game where all you really do is tap or swipe to attack enemies, and it's super frantic battles, and there's really no strategy to it whatsoever. But the thing is that it's a $3.99 game, but you can pay money to resuscitate your party because it's one hit per character and they go down. And of course, the enemies you fight are much tougher than that. And you can also pay for characters and pay for new maps. But for me, it wasn't a big deal because I've never actually paid to resuscitate my party. It's one of those games. I treat it like I do Tiny Tower or Simpsons Tapped Out, where I turn it on, I tap and swipe for a couple minutes, put it down, and then I come back to it a couple hours later. It's not a big deal. And, Rob, you and I are on the same page as far as kind of being burnt out on sprite or on pixel art. As far as like a lot of the indies, like it's like, oh, well, I'm going to do, 8-bit or 16-bit, aesthetic. And it's like, that's all well and good, but, I kind of want to see new stuff.
Right.
The only difference, the one caveat that I'll give to that is that when I see something that's playing with my nostalgia that goes for sprite art, it kind of like warms the cockles of my heart. Because when you see characters like Cloud or Steiner from Final Fantasy IX in that classic 16-bit Super Nintendo style, it's just kind of like, it's kind of awesome. Like, people keep talking about wanting Square Enix to remake the PlayStation games in HD, blah, blah, blah. I'd rather them just go the other direction and make like these very simple sprite-based versions of them. I'd like that a lot better because they look really cool when you see them in those little SD sprites. So, it's not a game that I'm complaining about. I've actually had a lot of fun with it. I've beaten it twice already. I've spent money on characters because I'm a loser and Square Enix can have my money. But, it's an enjoyable little time waster, and that's all it is. It's not supposed to be anything deeper than that. Now the thing that probably a lot of people are really into that I'm not is, I played the Dead Space 3 demo. And, I think you guys know that I'm a really big Dead Space fan. And for the most part, like, Dead Space 3 seems to hit a lot of the beats that I like about Dead Space. It's got like some very good tense moments. It's got some good exploration, gorgeous graphics for the environments, stuff like that. But they decided to bring in, human characters as some of your enemies, which in of itself isn't a bad thing. Like, I think that adds a new dynamic to it. I remember playing like the first Half-Life and, you're fighting like aliens and stuff like that, but then partway through, all of a sudden there's soldiers that you have to contend with, and that like totally changed the dynamic of the gameplay, and that's fine. But they've done it in a really half-assed way. You press the L trigger to get into cover, which is also the trigger that you use to aim. So I think you guys can see a problem right off the bat there, where you're basically trying to aim and get into cover at the same time, and he's just freaking out trying to figure out what he wants you to, or what you want him to do. And, Isaac doesn't actually get into cover like you expect a third-person shooter, as far as like getting his back up against the wall. He just kind of crouches like haphazardly behind the cover, and he's just getting pelted by these soldiers like left and right, and there's no feedback. Like there's no animation that shows that he's getting hit. There's no force feedback in the controller. There's nothing on the HUD that lets you know that he's being shot from a direction. All you notice is that his life bar is like rapidly depleting. And to me, that's like a cardinal sin when you're doing a third-person shooter. And, it really, to me, it smacks of EA trying to cater to every single person, cause they've really been trying to do this whole mass market, like we have to have every game sell to every single person type of mentality. And it's really frustrating to me because they were on such a hot streak, like creatively. I feel like around like 2008, 2009, they did really bold, interesting stuff like the first Dead Space, Mirror's Edge. They published Brutal Legend, and it's to see them go from that really creative period to now this striving for just mass market appeal on every single game that they do. It's just really annoying to me.
What game is this? What are we talking about?
Dead Space 3.
Oh, okay. I'm getting that to review. I've heard nothing but good things about it.
Yeah, I'm hoping that the demo that I played was, like an early build from like E3, but the cover mechanics are just atrocious in that demo. And I hope that's not an indication of the final product.
I heard that from somewhere else too, and so that, I thought they would figure it out by now, and this demo that they just released would be something different. So I don't know why they would do the same thing, like after, like I think Kotaku was talking about it and saying they didn't like that because they couldn't get in the cover when they wanted to, and like you said, he was running around when he shouldn't be.
Right, yeah. And it wouldn't be as big a problem if you were just fighting the regular necromorphs, but, these are guys with semi-automatic weapons that are just, like, peppering you with fire. But I gotta say that the co-op stuff is really cool, because it actually changes the story and the cutscenes based on having two players. So it's not that normal thing where it's just like, well, you're just a second player along for the ride, but really it's the host that's actually controlling the story. Like, depending on who you're playing, you get a different perspective of the action. And, like, when I played the co-op, there's a quick time event, like, right towards the beginning of the demo, and I had a completely different quick time event from what I did, as a single player game playing with Isaac. And that's really interesting. I'm not a big co-op guy, but that actually makes me curious to actually go through the entire game, playing co-op, like, after playing the complete, single player campaign. But,
I didn't have much interest in Dead Space. The first one scares the shit out of me. So, I like it. I like that it's scary and it scares me. But, I'm like dreading playing through the third one.
Yeah, I love the second one. I didn't play the first one. It didn't really scare me too much, but the end kind of did because of the difficulty. Like, I don't know.
I heard that the second one is more action-packed. Like, would you say that, I mean, you didn't play the first one, but would you say the first one puts the second one puts a heavy emphasis on the action, Patrick, for someone who's only played, like, the second one? And you'll probably play the third one.
Yeah, eventually when it comes down in price or something, or it's free on PS Plus or something, which it probably will be at some point. But, yeah, it was very action-packed until the end when, like, they barely give you any ammo, like, on the higher difficulties. I played it on hard, I think. And, there's like this one bad guy who won't die, like sort of like Nemesis, and you like can't get away from him in some rooms because they're so close quartered, like that. I don't know, like you can't use action on him because he like falls down for just a little bit. And you can't run away because he runs as fast as you. Like I don't know, it's very frustrating. But.
Does this creature mull around and say stars?
He should.
He should.
Yeah,
always.
I would say, from the Dead Space 3 demo, it definitely seemed to be going for the cheap jump scares, more than anything. Like enemies like just popping out of the snow, like right in front of you. Which I was like, okay, that made me jump, but that's really, that's not effective in the long run, guys. I don't know.
Yeah. I want to see those creepy, like in the distance scares, like when you first see Pyramid Head and, like in Signs when you first see the aliens.
The first one's got a lot of that. You should give the first one a go, Patrick. I think you'd really dig it.
Yeah, but like what I think is like they already got past that in the story, and I've already like I don't know, is it worth going back to? Is there that much backstory I would really care about? Or?
Yeah, I mean, from what I've played like through about 70% of it. They have a lot of backstory in there, which is nice.
Yeah, I mean they go back to the same place in the second one, which is kind of cool. I could see what it was like in the first one, the ship that they were in.
Yeah, I think it would still be interesting to go back and play it again. I prefer Dead Space 2 over 1, but I know I'm in the vast minority. But, I don't know, I'm still looking forward to Dead Space 3, but after that demo, it's my expectations have been lowered. And I've heard good things from people that are playing the review code, so it's entirely possible that all of the problems that I have with the demo are gone by the time that, we get the full release in a couple weeks.
To knock him off, I don't know what that is, Alien. Huh.
Yeah, not too happy with what I played of it. So, yeah. You said you had some more stuff, Patrick, that you were playing?
Yeah, speaking of sprites, they put Mega Man 9 and 10 on sale. I don't know if I talked about this I think it came out in the last 2 weeks, but, yeah, I've been playing that and trying to figure out what way to go first in Mega Man 10. I got to the end in Mega Man 9, but never beat it. And I used to be a big fan of those games, but that was really fun because they're free. And, just going through those, but I finally got the chance to play Darksiders, which I think you like. And I don't know how I feel about that one. I hope it opens up better later on, but I just mashed buttons square, square, square and got through the first boss, and it was kind of over the top. I don't know. It's a cheesy kind of storyline for me. Did you like the story, or how did you feel about that? Because being the war horseman, I was just they're really just trying to throw a ton of bad guys at me and hope that I like it.
Well, it's funny because Darksiders is kind of just like a Fallout for me, where I've started it multiple times but haven't gone all the way through it. I have yet to get to the part of the game where it starts to become more Zelda-ish, because I know that's the big draw is the dungeons, and I haven't gotten to any of the dungeons yet. They are playing it on, Backloggers Anonymous, our other podcast, and I was going to play through it with them, but I kind of went through this thing recently where, I think I told you guys that, really, I'm not going to be buying any games for the first 6 months of the year at least. And I've got this huge backlog, but every time that I go to look to play something, I get paralyzed with choice.
Yeah.
Because I can't make a decision. So I was the only way to do this fairly is lottery style. So I wrote down all of the, games in my backlog on little sheets of paper. I folded them up, put them in a mug, and I drew the first 3 names. And that's just what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go randomly down my list and, for a while.
That's why I posted my backlog on Facebook, and even though the overwhelming majority was Alan Wake, I was meh, fuck it. Gonna keep playing Fallout, because
your opinions don't matter, friends.
It's weird. I genuinely wanted to start, well, not start. I'm probably 20% through Alan Wake or whatever, but I'm just fuck, do I really want to invest all this time into this again and indulge in this world? And so I've decided that after I mop up New Vegas, I'm gonna go to Alan Wake Town, USA, and
yeah, it's not long. It's probably less than 15 hours total. And if you're already 20% through, you've done a good chunk of it.
I only want to see the part where the chief of police calls him Bret Easton Ellis. That's the only part I give a shit about in this game, really. I hate to admit that, but I know I should be a lot more excited about it because it's a Sam Lake game and I love Sam Lake, but I'm having a hard time mustering any interest in going back to it. And dude, I feel the same way when I look at the stack. I'm there's too much. There's too much choice. And, I just don't know what to do. Because now I have to squeeze in Saints Row the Third again with all the content. So, that's another playthrough.
You just remove the choice from yourself like I did. That's, the first 3 games that I picked was Splatterhouse, Sacred 2, and Ratchet & Clank, Tools of Destruction.
Oh, yeah.
That's the most random selection of games I could possibly think of.
The weird thing is I would do that if I trusted myself to follow through with it, which I don't.
No, that's true. And you're also going to be buying a lot of the new games coming out, so you're going to get constantly sidetracked anyway.
Right. I have, the Aliens game next month or whatever, so.
Yeah.
I cannot wait for that.
Man, Alan Wake, though, is coming from a guy who doesn't play Xbox. That's the second most wanted game for me. I don't know.
It's not on PS3?
No.
No, the console version is 360 exclusive because I think they published it.
Oh,
but
wow.
you might check Steam, Patrick.
Yeah, I don't think it's on Mac though either, and I don't have the window in Mac or whatever.
Yeah.
Boot Camp, that's it.
Yeah.
I don't have that.
But yeah, I definitely think, especially talking about, horror and stuff like that with Dead Space, Alan Wake, it's not an overtly scary game, but it is a very effective, creepy game. And I think some of the stuff that they do later on, especially blending music in with the storytelling, is really well done. And I've always really applauded the game for that.
I was really enjoying it. Oh, I'm sorry, Patrick. What?
It seems kind of artsy because they use light in a way that like vanquishes enemies, I believe. So that's the same way that like a painter uses light to show the perspective that they want the viewer to feel. It seems like that's what the developers are doing for the video game.
Other games have done that too, though.
Yeah, and I think the only like real complaint I would have on Alan Wake is kind of like Spec Ops. I could probably do with about 20% less shooting, you know, and just give me some more time to just soak in the atmosphere and kind of explore.
Yeah,
I didn't realize there was lots of shooting in that game. From the trailer, it didn't seem like that much.
It's pretty shootery.
Well, that's not good.
I mean, it's serviceable. It's just, I think, the mood is so good in that game that I don't think that they needed to rest on the shooter mechanic as much as they did. I think a little bit more puzzle solving, or even just like going from point A to point B could be very interesting. And I think a lot of developers it might be a publisher thing where it's like, oh no, you haven't had action in 5 minutes. Like, this is no good. You know, you need the player doing something right now.
It looks, the location is really interesting to me too, the whole Pacific Northwest thing. So that's kind of cool. And I did enjoy it while I was playing it. I'm having a hard time getting my mind back into it. I really liked the sequence in Max's apartment in Manhattan while the snow was coming down. It's weird because I've never seen a game capture snow in New York quite as well as that.
Yeah.
So that was pretty. I mean, Max Payne, the original Max Payne games did a good job of that. But
yeah, I was thinking of that game too.
Yeah, but and it's funny because those are Sam Lake games also. But
you at least need to play long enough to see the Max Payne cameo in Alan Wake.
Yeah, when does that happen?
It's pretty far in there, but the actual actor is in there, and he does the face. He does the scowly face.
Yeah, that's Sam Lake. That's the guy who created the games. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. I didn't realize that was him, so that's cool.
Yeah. I played some Max Payne 3 multiplayer too this past weekend. I neglected to mention that, and I feel bad.
That's random. Why'd you pop that in all of a sudden?
My buddy Mike and I were like, we're burned out on Halo right now, so let's switch it up. And I was like, what we should play? Max Payne 3. And we both put it in. We downloaded the compatibility DLC, which didn't take long at all, surprisingly. And we were really digging it. And it was funny because I don't pay much attention to kill-death ratio in any shooter, but for some reason in Max Payne 3 I was like really focused on it. And I was like, the more I played it, it was like anything, I was seeing it go down and go up and go down, until it was like starting to even out, and then I got a little bit ahead. So I was pretty comfortable at the end of the night. But it was so much fun. I was really surprised because the way they execute the whole bullet time thing is just perfect. That game might be one of the more underrated games of last year. I feel like it doesn't get enough love, but it's, that multiplayer was really fantastic, and those levels are so well designed. It's like finally Rockstar can deliver a solid multiplayer component with one of their great standalone titles.
Yeah, the little bit that I dabbled in GTA 4 and Red Dead didn't really thrill me.
No, the Red Dead multiplayer was fucking terrible. But the Grand Theft Auto one had its moments. Flying around the city with friends was kind of funny, and doing Jason Bourne power slides through Times Square was cool.
Yeah, I never got that far. It was spawn and die, spawn and die, spawn and die.
I had the same kind of problem with like people who were on my team though, where they would just like go around and try to kill if there is an objective even. Like, I don't know, just like how people would just take a bunch of different weapons and go around killing innocent civilians in the single player. I don't know. Maybe I played with too many little kids on accident by random, but like.
And Julian and I have talked a lot about that in the past, like the whole player agency thing, and it's really, that seems to be the problem with people playing those games, is they're just like, well, fuck it, I'm just gonna kill a bunch of innocent people and then fight the cops and then die.
Yeah.
It's just, Jesus. It's like there's no fun in that, in my opinion. Like, that just doesn't seem, I don't know, just doesn't interest me.
I had fun with that in Saints Row, the third, just because that's the only open world game where I would actually actively, like, take out civilians, just because I knew that I could run up to them and DDT them. And I was like, I just have to keep doing that. I just have to keep running up and doing wrestling moves to innocent people because it's just too fun.
That stuff is fun for sure. We're both warped. I used to like ride them like surfboards. That was my favorite thing to do.
And also the fact that the guns are kind of supersized. Like they don't look like regular guns, and that amuses me too. Like just a regular set of pistols looks like, you know, a rifle in some other games.
They are gigantic. That's a really good point that I've never heard anyone raise before.
Is there like big gun mode or something?
No, this is just the regular guns. Like they're oversized. Like all the guns are oversized for some sort of reason.
It just adds to the ridiculousness of the whole game. Like, everything is cartoonish and over the top, and I guess they just felt like, yeah, fuck it, let's make the guns really big, too.
Yeah.
Sounds like NBA Jam for third-person action shooters.
It kind of is. Especially when you start getting the perks that are basically make you, like, you know, have unlimited ammo and, like, safe fall damage. And
yeah, I was just gonna say no fall damage.
That's the best, is when you just, like, you know, it's like, okay, I could take the elevator down to the bottom floor, or I could just freaking jump off the roof.
Yeah.
I'm gonna jump off the roof.
Yeah, that was always great.
Yeah, more games should let you jump off the roof.
Yes. Let us fulfill our suicidal tendencies. Wait, no.
With no consequences.
Alright, so I think that's done it for games.
Oh, wait, I got one more. I also got to play this little heard of game that Julian said I would love, and I did. It's called the Unfinished Swan.
Oh yeah, I haven't played that, but it just sounded like a Patrick game.
Yeah, and I think everybody has to beat this game. Like, it's only 4 or 5 hours without a guide, maybe less if you know exactly where to go. But oh my god, it is beautiful, and it inspired me to write a poem.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm doing this thing where all the games I play, I try to write a poem for, and like when putting them into like a book or whatever. And I was hoping to read you guys a poem of this one that will kind of tell the story from my perspective, at least. It's not that long. You care to hear it?
And now NWP brings you Patrick's Poetry Corner.
Unlocked from complete white with the splat of a wand, the drip of a black paint, and a bubble popped on ground. Chirps of birds and visible paths as the strokes guide canvases and labyrinths of statues and hedges, like a pig, a hand of an artist, and a king. A drawbridge cranked into place to let a bubble free a balloon, flying as high as hot air over a castle, in midst of some vines growing back through the sewers and moats. Acrylic and water mixed to make an adolescent take over the kingdom through storybook pages and uncovered stages, laced with a giant who guarded the entrance. Cooped up in one of his towers for all of his trophies, with achievements to remember the color. Life brought to the land from once started white, finally able to catch part of the swan. Led straight to the king, who was dreaming about all of his artwork partially destroyed, and realizing he would have painted anyway. So much fun that someone else should paint over it all. Thank you.
Very nice. I'm gonna have to find, like, some appropriate, like, Jack Handy Deep Thoughts music or something to lay under it.
It's funny. The narrator in the story probably contributed to it. It was Terry Gilliam, but he has such a wonderful, calm voice throughout the whole thing. I don't know. I had to write something about it and share. But yeah, it's about the process of writing and painting and all of that. And you should definitely, especially if you have the move, definitely play through it. It's $250 right now. Jesus.
Very cool. Well, thank you for that, Patrick. I think we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're just going to do some free-form discussion. So, stick with us.
I've been dreaming of going to Mars, where mutants drive plastic cars. So I go there, you know the rest. The best part was the girl with 3 breasts. Totally! totally recalling. So I'm on Mars, and I meet Queto, and I pull this big metallic thing out of my nose. It makes me scream and shout and move my big robotic head all about. Totally recalling. See you at the party, Victor. Totally recalling. One more time, fellas.
All right, so as I said at the top of the show, we're just going to kind of talk about whatever comes to mind. But Rob, before we get into that, you know, we can jump off of this. But I got a chance to read your interview with Tommy Wiseau over at Just Press Play, and I thought it was excellent.
Oh, thanks.
So again, listeners, if you haven't had a chance to check it out, you should go read that because it's very interesting. I didn't know a thing about this dude pretty much until like Rob clued me into him. And I will admit that I'm not a Tim and Eric fan, so when you were saying that, Rob, I was like, I don't know. But then you put that damn link to the Tommy Wiseau in your interview, and that's just great.
I love the Tommy Wiseau. I have another interview up on there right now with the director Mark Tonderai, the guy who made House at the End of the Street, which just came out on Blu-ray and DVD. I got to interview him as well. But yeah, Tommy Wiseau, man, isn't it hysterical, him playing Mortal Kombat?
I am ready for this Mortal Kombat. Give it to me!
Yeah, because when it started, I mean, first I kind of dig the whole like Mystery Science Theater aesthetic, like it's very cheesy on purpose.
Yeah.
And okay, I've got to say I don't hear the Louisiana twang at all. Like to me, he kind of sounds like when you do your Arnold Schwarzenegger impression. Like, oh my God, alien, come back!
Yeah, good morning.
But yeah, and then I was like, oh, so I get, okay, cool. I guess he's a gamer. Like I didn't realize, like I'm surprised that Rob didn't like hit that up on the interview. But then when they showed him playing, I was like, oh, okay. This is the first time that he's held a controller. This is quite fantastic.
There are actually some games that he is not terrible at. He played, what's her face? Justine from iJustine, and she did some stuff on, I want to say it's, G4, not G4, on, oh my God, the show with Jeff Keighley.
Oh,
what's that called? Game Trailers TV.
Yeah.
I feel like she did something with him on there, or she did something on, this other great show that I can't remember that's from Canada, hosted by Victor Lucas. I don't remember what it's called, but, where they actually do play against each other, and it is kind of back and forth, and he is a lot better at it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, like, him just doing the jumping thing, that was pretty great. I think everything that man does is genuinely calculated. Even when he looks like an idiot doing it, I think it's all genuinely calculated.
Yeah, and I got the impression that, like, you know, he seems very comfortable being in that kind of B-movie, you know, space, which is cool, because I think if you're going to be there, you should own it. And he definitely seemed to own it. But I like the part where, you know, he's just kicking and the alien's like, well, you should do something else. And he's like, no, I'm just going to do this. And then there's clearly a cut where they teach him how to do the ice ball. So they go to the ice ball and just like, ah. So I need to put like tons of Tommy Wiseau drops into the show from now on because they make me happy.
Good. Good. I'm glad. The Mark Tonderai interview that I did was really long compared to the Tommy Wiseau interview, but he was super talkative and super candid about filmmaking. So, and if you guys haven't seen House at the End of the Street, it's surprisingly awesome. You wouldn't expect it to be any good. It's the horror movie that had the chick from the Hunger Games in it.
Oh,
she is so hot. But,
chipmunk cheeks.
She does have chipmunk cheeks, but she's delicious. She's really great in the movie, and the movie itself is very cool. It's very Brian De Palma-like, which is cool.
Okay.
So, yeah, I really liked it, and he was really happy with it. It did really well here in the States, and I'm pretty sure it did better overseas, but He was a really great interview. He was a perfect English gentleman.
Excellent.
Yeah, I see that I'm reading it right now. I see it's about child abuse and stuff, and how like love for your child can hinder you. So I'm interested to know how that could actually come across as something that that you could come away and be like, yeah, that I could see that side of it, because I could never see that side of child abuse.
Yeah, it's interesting. A lot of his themes are really, really prevalent in everything he's done. Even his older work, which I actually watched after I interviewed him like a dipshit because I couldn't really find it. But yeah, I'm definitely a fan of his for life now. He was just really cool.
I'm sure it was better than The Devil Inside, which I unfortunately watched yesterday on Netflix.
Okay, I was gonna say, like, is that the new one or something? Like, there's another one. Oh no, I'm thinking of The Last Exorcism 2. There's
a Last Exorcism 2?
Yeah, it's called Still Exorcising.
Shut up.
No, it's not really called that.
I wouldn't put it past Hollywood.
Yeah, it doesn't really make any sense to call a movie The Last Exorcism 2. It's just like The Haunting in Connecticut 2, The Haunting in Georgia, which is a movie that's coming out. It's some kind of title like that.
Really?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's literally The Haunting in Connecticut 2, Haunting in Georgia, or Haunting in Atlanta, or some shit.
It's so weird when they do that with these like direct-to-video sequels where it's like, we need the name. We need the name for this to do well. And it's like, I don't think you really need the name. Like, this is very clearly like schlock cinema. Like, it's going to appeal to the people that it's going to appeal to.
Or just call it The Haunting in Georgia.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any goddamn sense. But
yeah, neither does a horror movie where you have to go online to see the ending.
What movie is that?
The Devil Inside.
What?
Yeah.
What do you mean you have to go online to see the ending?
It says like the investigation is ongoing. To find out more, go to this website.
Are you serious?
I am dead serious. I had heard that because I was going to see the movie in the theater because I thought it had a pretty good trailer, and I have a thing for Exorcist movies.
Mm-hmm.
But I heard the reviews and I was like, okay, I'm not going to watch that. But it was on streaming, and I was like, it was only like an hour and 23 minutes. Actually, just an hour and 15 when you take out the credits. I was like, okay, I'll go ahead and try this out. I have nothing better to do. And I wish I had that 115 minutes back. Or
This guy's got, this director in that studio's got some fucking balls to do something like that.
Oh, yeah.
That is multimedia to the core, man.
That's bullshit.
What did it add?
Yeah, what did they add to the table by saying go online?
Nothing, because I didn't go online, so.
That's bullshit.
I think I know what they were trying to do, because I remember, like, back when the Blair Witch Project came out, this is like when the whole viral marketing thing, like, it didn't even have a name yet. I remember that they had already started seeding the story on the internet before the movie came out to kind of build this mystique around it. And so that's why when the movie came out, a lot of people thought it was real because they had been reading articles about it online that seemed like legitimate newspaper articles and stuff like that.
See, that's different though. Viral marketing is such an awesome concept. Like the viral marketing they did for the Dark Knight was ridiculous. The fact that I got a phone call from the fucking Joker, that's cool.
Right, yeah.
You know,
but
like, that's awesome. But
you don't viral market it to me when I'm already in the movie. Like
exactly. And let me read you a piece here from I just looked it up on Wikipedia. Blah, 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 blah. Sorry. The film was a financial success. It grossed roughly $100 million, which is terrifying. But the telling thing about it was it topped U.S. box office in opening weekend and then dropped drastically the second week. So what you're saying probably had a lot to do with that. People not wanting to go online to figure out what's going on.
Yeah, oh yeah. I would have been, if I paid, $10 to go see that in the theater, I would have been pissed.
I don't blame you. That's really absurd. I can't even imagine that. I can't wrap my head around the concept of it genuinely happening.
Yeah. And I kind of, now that I think about it, I almost kind of regret not going to see it in the theater just to see what the reaction was, in the theater. Cause I would imagine that there would have been like cups getting thrown at the screen.
Yeah. We're talking about a 76.2% drop off according to Wikipedia in its second week.
Which is insane because normally it's like what, like a 40% drop off for successful movies?
20 to 40, yeah. Wow, that's unbelievable. That is, you know what? I'm not going to watch this movie just because you told me that.
Yeah, I don't recommend it. Just, I suffered for you.
To be honest, I'm actually like furious that they did that. I'm not even joking. Like, it really bothers me because like, there's so many, and I just went to that horror film convention. There's so many really talented young indie filmmakers out there who are really generating great content. The fact that this fucking movie exists and was in theaters, forcing people to go online to see the real ending. Oh man,
and it's also
there's literally something. There's something in my stomach right now that's really upset about that.
Don't you like the idea of like it opening up the limitations in the form of the medium or something like that? Like I like the sound of not having to go through, beginning, middle, and end necessarily, but not just because you cut the end off. I'd hope it'd be used for something else.
No, because when an audience pays for a movie, they should get the whole movie. Whatever version that there is. They shouldn't be told, go to the website and watch what we were doing. That's bullshit. And I think that's really wrong to pull the wool over the audience's eyes like that. I mean, understandably it made a shit ton of money, but, audiences are a lot smarter than that. Like Julian didn't even go to the website and he didn't even pay to watch the thing.
Yeah. It's a slippery slope because, I know Bobby Kotick famously has talked about, in the future wanting to get customers to pay for the endings to their games because, it's like, well, not everybody gets to the end of the games anyway, and if you really want to see what happens, kick us another $5. And
you know what?
No.
You know what? The next person inspired by video games to kill somebody, kill that fucking guy. Just do it. You blame me. Say, this guy, the fat guy on this podcast told me to kill Bobby Kotick. Good, do it. Do it. Because that's bullshit. That's a bullshit concept. And, he needs to be taught a lesson for saying something like that.
Nerds Without Pants doesn't actually condone the murder of Bobby Kotick, but if it happens, we wouldn't be crying.
Yeah, Bob endorses it.
He was actually kind of good in Moneyball.
He was actually kind of good in Moneyball. You're right. You're totally right on that.
I really feel that was all PR. I feel, because he did that for free. He did it for charity.
Well, I'll tell you why he did it, because the director of Moneyball directed stuff for the Call of Duty endowment.
Oh, synergy.
Yeah, it was a trade-off.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah. I thought it was really, because nobody, if you're not a gamer and you see that guy in the movie, he's just another dude. But I really felt that it was like, well, the gamers will know who he is. And then when it comes out that he did it for, for charity, it's be like, oh, he's not such a bad guy after all.
Yeah, it's not that he did it for charity, he just did it for free.
Yeah. Oh, okay, I thought he did, okay.
No, there was no charity money generated by that.
Well, I can honestly say that I was never going to see The Devil Inside, and it's because I've only heard bad things. And all of those bad things are what Julian just said.
Oh, fuck. Wow. I can't believe that. But, on to less, it's not less depressing news, but, I reviewed an awesome movie back in November or December, called Must Come Down that stars Ashley Birch from Hey Ash, What You Playin'?
Oh, wow, okay.
And, I've been in contact with the director a whole lot, and he's a very talented, funny writer, and he's a great director, it's just unbelievable. And it actually turns out that right before Christmas, the actual star of the movie is a guy named David Fetzer. It actually turns out that David Fetzer died mysteriously, right before Christmas this past year. And the sad thing about it is that this guy was brilliant. He was a brilliant songwriter, he was a brilliant singer, and he was a brilliant performer in Must Come Down. So it just kind of hurts my heart to watch the movie now. I still adore the movie, and I'm still going to tell everybody about it, and however you possibly can, seek it out. And I'm actually trying to work with the director to get it screened here on Long Island somewhere. And it just kills me to know that this guy's not special. And I don't know how he passed away. I don't know what the situation is with all that. It just really, really bums me out that that David Fetzer's not with us anymore after turning in such a great performance. And it's such a beautiful, sweet movie. I actually watched it recently again with my lady friend, and I actually cried at the end of it because I was so upset that he's not with us anymore.
And he was pretty young, right?
He was only 30.
Wow. Didn't the director or writer of that movie Waitress, didn't she pass away right as the movie came out as well?
The director passed away.
Yeah. That's really rough, especially when you have because I think creative people need to create and they want people to experience their creations. And for that to happen, and people just as you're on the cusp of your creation finally being experienced,
right.
to unfortunately, not be around anymore. That's just really heartbreaking.
I feel shitty because, we all work in this whole journalism, pseudo, whatever you want to call it, enthusiast writing business. But like, you know, I've had a Q&A with the direct sitting in my inbox since right before Christmas that he did. And I was just like, I haven't had the time to get to it because he took a little while to do it, which is fine. He's a busy guy. But, yeah, he finally got back to me. I was like, cool, I'm going to try and have it up this week. And then he emails me back and tells me about David Fetzer passing away. And I was just like, fuck. So I don't know what I'm going to do with this Q&A. I'm sure it's fantastic. He's a talented dude, but it's just really a bummer. I didn't mean to bring the podcast down, y'all, but,
No, it's worth bringing up, you know, and going back to the creative thing, like, and I know I've been talking about it a lot lately, but it's because I'm really into it, but, there's an episode of Doctor Who in the Matt Smith run where they are hanging out with Vincent van Gogh. And, you know, of course, you know, tortured artist, and he's not having a very good time of it, and, you know, everybody is making fun of his art, and they just treat him like a freak. And, at the end of the episode, the doctor takes Van Gogh to the present and brings him to an art museum and talks to, like, a curator of a Van Gogh exhibit and just lets Van Gogh listen to all of this praise heaped on him. And I got emotional. Like, it just came out of nowhere. And it was like, to see, like, you know, this creative person who thought that he was just worthless. And then, you know, see, you know, many years later that he's considered like the greatest in his field. You know, I mean, just the look on his face, like the actor is just perfect. And
right.
It got me verklempt. Like, I was not prepared for that whatsoever.
Yeah. It's just, you know, it's a really strange thing. All the more strange is, you know, when you don't know every aspect of the story.
Right, yeah.
So, I don't know. I mean, I would ask, but I don't want to, you know, offend or anything like that.
Well, let's keep the tragedy lever going, cause Patrick, you had some bad news also that you wanted to talk about.
The tragedy lever?
It's the antithesis of the comedy button.
Yeah. So like a couple of days ago, I think at 56 years old, the musician for the lead composer for Heavy Rain and upcoming Beyond Two Souls passed away. And, they found out because it was like on a cancer forum, and his son, I think, wrote a little blog about it. And so it was very unfortunate because that was very atmospheric music, and it sort of reminded me of like, Trent Reznor on The Social Network, if you haven't played the game, but I was looking more forward to that kind of music, like the creepy background, minimalist kind of stuff, and won't be getting it from him. I mean, hopefully Trent Reznor comes to video games now.
Well, he did the Black Ops 2 theme song.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I remember I read that story about the guy passing away, and I was like, Jesus, 56 is so young.
Right? Yeah.
God damn it.
It's like, I'm about to turn 33. Like, that's not very far in the future. Like,
it's not.
I don't want to think about that.
Cancer fucking sucks, man. Fuck cancer.
Yeah, well, 1 in 3 babies that is born today is going to live to 100, so might as well be us.
You know why that is? Because we're mixing up all of these awesome genetic traits from all the different, like, ethnicities, and I think we need to do that more.
And I think we're probably also keeping our minds more active. You know,
Yeah.
we're absorbing so much on a daily basis that I think it's keeping us, you know, on our toes regularly. Which is something, you know, it's kind of funny whenever they try to vilify games, which has been happening a lot lately with the recent shootings and stuff. I remember hearing a report that said that, and it was a negative report about video games, it said that it increases the neuroplasticity of the brain when you're playing a video game. And I was thinking, that's a good thing, because that's how you let your brain be able to experience new things and learn new things that stick. You know, it's like, that's what you want. Like, that's the whole thing, is that, you know, especially like after you hit 40, you know, they say, keep doing new things, keep learning new things, keep reading new things, because it keeps your brain active and it keeps it from, like, basically freezing in place, and then it just starts to go downhill from there.
Sure.
So, you know, it's like, if video games, you know, allow me to make my brain more malleable to, you know, accept new things, that's a positive. That's not a negative.
Yeah,
You know?
I guess video games are like always a new thing. Unless you totally know the ins and outs of the whole game, like you're always gonna have to press a different button in a new way, because it's dependent on like how you go backward and forward, and what enemy is where, and it's sort of randomized, so it's not always the same thing. I mean, there are only a few buttons, but it's not like reading where you're always reading the same language. I don't think, anyway.
That's
Right.
interesting.
And you know, I think probably the best way to do it is play a game for 4 hours and then go like read a new book or something, or play an instrument. Like
Yeah,
when
you
your
should
brain
never
is nice
stick to
and
one form of media. I mean, you could do a little bit more of one that you love the most, but like, you gotta be other places for that to have such significance.
totally. Which is kind of why we're doing this episode. Let you experience some new stuff from the Nerds Without Pants.
Hmm.
Yeah, bringing it down.
I mean, because the Nerds Without Pants are tits and ass, but we're more than tits and ass.
Heyo.
All right, I need something uplifting. Somebody hit me with something. Come on.
Oh,
I want to feel
man.
good.
I started watching Neon Genesis Evangelion 2.0.
No, that's depressing.
Wow.
Evangelion is so depressing. No.
Deadpool fighting Abraham Lincoln in the new Deadpool issue.
Okay, that's acceptable.
That's fun. It was fun. I love that issue of the comic. You guys read it yet? Brian Posehn's writing the new Deadpool.
I have never been able to get into Deadpool. I want to, but I don't know where to jump in. He has so many series that it's kind of daunting.
He's got that team up thing that's like in the 800s right now. They just keep making them, all different writers. But yeah, I don't know. They just relaunched it. There's only 4 issues. They've got second prints of the first 2 or 3 already. And it uses Marvel AR technology pretty well. If you guys haven't used it, it's like augmented reality inside your book. I'm not really sure how they put it in there because it doesn't like pop out at you at all. It's just like one of the pages will have a little AR symbol in the bottom right corner, and like some of them they don't use too well. Like on the new Avengers, they didn't use it that well, and Spider-Man, Sensational Spider-Man 1, it was used okay. But for this one, Brian Posehn like pops up and the other writer pops up in the middle of it and tells you like a backstory on like how they started to write for Deadpool, or like what they used to do to like write in their spare time. Like Brian Posehn pulls out 2 stuffed animals he had from a little kid and he's like, I'm gonna kill you, and then like telling like a little baby story in the middle of it, and it's hilarious. Because he's a comedian as well as a nerd. And
These are QR codes they have, like the little
Sort of. They're not
scan
actually
them?
they're not actually QR codes, but it's along the same vein.
it's like a QR code underneath one of the pages or something like that, one of the panels. And they have their own augmented reality app that you just like put it over the top and you don't have to press any buttons. It just like opens up a new video. And so like at the end of Sensational Spider-Man 1, which I'm not really sure if I like.
You mean Superior?
Yeah, right. Superior Spider-Man 1. I don't know if I like what happened. But they, instead of putting the letters column at the end, they made a video where they did the letters in pseudo person. They like took a video of them answering different letters and just like put it on the internet basically. So that was pretty cool because I got to actually see the writers and like, I don't know, get to know them more because of their body movements and their tendencies as a character rather than just as their words, which I don't know, it's a nice form of new media.
Yeah, my only thing is that, like, when I'm reading a comic book, I'm just reading a comic book. I don't really want to bring more technology into it. I can see the benefits of it, but I guess I'm just too old and crotchety for that. I'm just like, I'm just going to read my comic.
Well, it doesn't take anything away from the comic. It just adds to it, you know? Like, they still have 22 pages or whatever, how many pages they have embedded in a bunch of ads. But
I might actually go ahead and download that app because I'm reading Avengers Arena, which is basically Hunger Games with the young heroes in the Marvel Universe. And the only reason I'm collecting it is because it has Darkhawk, who's one of my favorite Marvel characters from the 90s, who has been woefully underused since his comic book ended. And it's clear that since his comic ended and he's appeared places, here and there that I haven't read, and I clearly missed a lot of his history because he's using powers that I didn't know he possessed. So in issue 3 of Avengers Arena, like when he appears for the first time, there is the AR symbol there. And I was like, I should probably go see what that says because it might clue me in on what he's been up to since I last saw him.
yeah, they tell you like a backstory for the character in Deadpool, and like it's like way more information than you ever would need to read the comic, but it makes it better. They did the same thing with Young Avengers, and they're really overusing the Avengers right now, to be honest with you. But
well, they've got reason to.
Yeah, what's that?
Well, that movie kind of did pretty well.
What movie?
that little Avengers movie that came out last summer. It did a few sales.
My favorite thing to come out of it though is like the new Hawkeye book, which has just like been selling out up through issue 6 even. Like my comic book store can't hold it. Now I have to subscribe to comics again because I need that book. It's like back from the 40s basically. Love it. And who would have thought that actually shooting arrows is that cool? Like
Legolas would say so.
Legolas doesn't have like suction arrows or something like that you stick on the front of a car and use to like punch the guy from the side of the window. It's crazy.
Well, if he would, if Middle Earth knew how to do suction arrows.
You'd think so with all that magic.
Green Arrow's got arrows that can kill Superman. I think those are pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. I need to watch that Arrow TV show. I think I'm hearing nothing but
good things about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I first heard that they weren't going to call him Green Arrow, and like they didn't want to call him a superhero or anything, I was like, okay, I'm out. Like, I don't like this whole like, well, we have to like make it completely real because it's a superhero, and people won't believe that.
I mean, that's not dissimilar to Smallville. They never called him Superman really until I guess towards the end, but
yeah, but
they're just doing the same thing.
Yeah, but no, but I've heard that like it actually incorporates like a lot of Marvel or a lot of DC Universe stuff into it. So I'm curious. I kind of want to see how that unfolds. And Green Arrow is a character that I haven't read, but I keep hearing good things about. So I am curious about that TV show.
The thing that's interesting to me about Green Arrow is he's like Bruce Wayne, Batman's best friend on the Justice League, more or less. Like they like to hype up the fact that, Superman and Batman get along, but it's like, yeah, they only get along as far as Batman trusts Superman kind of thing.
Right.
Whereas Green Arrow is his boy.
And he's also rich. It's like, we can be rich and superheroes together.
Yeah, exactly.
We're going to go yachting and then...
that yacht club? Oh, well. It just works.
So, Doctor Strange movie guys, interested? There's rumors swirling.
I don't so much care about that. I care more about Paul Giamatti being the Rhino in Spider-Man 2. Like, that's...
What? Really? I hadn't heard that.
That's a weird story. Yeah, it happened today. Paul Giamatti is supposedly going to be playing the Rhino in Spider-Man 2, which puts Spider-Man up against Jamie Foxx as Arrow and Paul Giamatti as the Rhino. Apparently, Paul Giamatti went on Conan 2 years ago and Conan was like, I heard you're really into like comic books or some bullshit. And Paul Giamatti was like, I loved the Rhino growing up. And he went on like this 10-minute chat about how he would love to play the Rhino if they ever brought him into the Marvel Universe and whatever. So now it's apparently happening, which is weird because Paul Giamatti's like 4 feet tall.
Right.
And, not exactly the most built man.
Mm-hmm.
But he is a scary dude. I don't know. A friend of mine was like, how do you make a guy in a Rhino costume scary? And I was like, to be fair, I think you're right. Because, as Paul Giamatti put it, the Rhino runs really fast and really hard into things. That's all he brings to the table. So, what another person mentioned, this was on Chud, was that this could potentially be setting up the Sinister Six for Spider-Man 3, which would be really interesting. And the way that they could do it is Sinister Six bankrolled by Norman Osborn, which would be really sick. So if we would get the final battle, we would get the climactic battle between the Green Goblin and Spider-Man in Part 3, which would be awesome.
Plus,
Plus
Rhino and Vulture
face.
and,
Yeah.
like, that would be really cool.
Yeah.
Probably a modified Sinister Six, because I don't know if you necessarily want to do, like, Sandman again.
That's not going to happen. But
Yeah.
they'll be like, yeah, here's Shocker.
Yeah, that Shocker's
you know.
acceptable.
Yeah, they'll throw a few B-listers.
Jack-o'-lantern.
The Jackal, they'll throw in, maybe the Chameleon or something. I mean, it's a wide open universe, so there's a lot of different people that they could do.
So speaking of Sinister Six, have you guys read the Superior Spider-Man?
No, it was actually sold out of my comic book store, like, 2 weeks in a row. So unless they get restocked again, like, they were also out of Amazing Spider-Man 700, so I know kind of what's going on, but I haven't actually read it for myself. I want to, but
I don't really want to spoil too much then, but like, it's funny because they have like a modified version of the Sinister Six. There's like 4 of them, and the Spider-Man that's in the Superior Spider-Man is like, man, this is weak. Back when I was when I knew the Sinister Six, they were a lot more powerful, and I don't know, he like tries to kill one of them, and oh man, I can't really say. Fuck, you're gonna have to cut this, cause I can't, like, I have to spoil it if I talk about it.
honestly, like it's been spoiled. Like it's the whole linchpin of Superior Spider-Man. It's friggin' Dr. Octopus.
Yeah, well, Dr. Octopus is like, well, I'm totally gonna kill one of these guys now that I know how bad the decisions I made were and stuff like that. And then right at the end of the first issue of Superior Spider-Man, who pops out of the dark like a ghost, but Peter Parker's ghost.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't think that Otto knows, but I stopped him from killing that man. I can still stop him from beyond this world.
Yeah, it's gonna be a 6-month story arc, and then they're gonna go back to Amazing Spider-Man. Like, it really didn't warrant the whole, like, ending of the comic and then relaunching this new book. Like, Marvel just has this thing against having, like, high number books, apparently. It's like, it's over 24 issues, we need to relaunch it, because people won't want to jump on at issue 26.
Yeah, I think they did it because DC did it last year and they did it well. Like,
Well, yeah, but DC did a complete company-wide relaunch. That's a completely different animal. Marvel is more like, for example, they relaunched Uncanny X-Men a year ago, and now Uncanny X-Men #1 is coming out, like, in a month or two.
yeah, I can't, like, stay with that. Like, I don't know how long that they're gonna have their readers, because who's gonna go back and buy relaunch titles like that often? It's been like 6 years before they like relaunched Green Lantern and the Avengers last time, and I don't know. Why would you do it again?
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing over there. It bothers me.
This is why I don't read superhero comics.
Well, you should read Invincible, because that's still an excellent book. I picked up volume 17, I think, of the trade last week, and also Guardians of the Globe volume 1, which is basically the Justice League of the Invincible universe. And that's just a really great series, because Robert Kirkman has slowly been building his own superhero universe around Invincible and kind of bringing in some of the other Image books into it. And it just works really well, and he's got such a good stable of bad guys now and heroes. Like, they introduced this new character named Best Tiger, and he's basically like, Chow Yun-Fat from all of his, like, classic action movies, but and a little bit of Punisher mixed in, but in order to challenge himself, he blindfolds himself all the time. He's not blind, he just wants a challenge. So he's got this, like, really cool, like, flak jacket and then this, like, blue bandana around his eyes.
I'm very anti Robert Kirkman because he just got the showrunner of the Walking Dead series fired. So I'm not the biggest fan of his, really, and I probably won't be reading anything he writes, because I mean, how many times can a guy sabotage his own series before he realizes that he's not the linchpin that makes that show work? I don't know.
He did write some of the best episodes, like the end of the series finale in this series, I think. I don't know, like, Swan.
There's a difference, though. Like, he shouldn't have the power that he has. I mean, understandably, like, it is his creation, but at the same time, I think AMC is shooting themselves in the foot by giving him as much creative control as he has.
Yeah, well, I would say as far as the comic goes, like, I love the fact that, he's been writing every issue of that book. Like, it's really excellent. So,
Yeah, and I
if
think
you want
said,
a different superhero book, that's one to check out.
I think I saw recently they asked him, like, how long do you think you'll be writing this still? And he's like, I don't know, I think it's my life work.
For, Invincible or Walking Dead?
Walking Dead.
Oh, I'd rather him say that for Invincible.
Yeah, I mean, I bet you he'll do both. Like, you can do 2 comics a month, right?
Oh, I mean, he's been doing it for years. Like, they're both,
Yeah.
like Invincible's about to hit issue 100, and Walking Dead just did.
It's some of the best writing in the industry, definitely. But speaking of superheroes, the Minutemen recently wrapped up, Rob.
You know what? I haven't picked up my comics because the person I go to the comic book store with had a death in the family, so we didn't go. So I haven't read anything.
That wasn't Ty, was it?
Yeah, it was Ty.
Oh, we'll give him my best. Well, our best.
Yeah, our best.
Yeah.
It was nice to have him on the show that week.
Yeah, it's a bummer. So we didn't get to go. I'll probably take him sometime this week to take his mind off everything.
Well, it's pretty cool because it tells you, like...
No, I don't want to hear anything. I don't want to hear a single thing about it.
Well...
At all. I don't want to hear anything about it. I'm dying to talk about it with you because I know you're reading it, but I need to discover it on my own. I'm not looking at anything related to it.
I'm just saying, man, play the Ride of the Valkyries.
Okay.
Well, this is like completely off topic, but we don't really have a topic, so it's cool. But, considering the whole, THQ getting shut down and divvied up and everything, one of the games that they had in their stable that I was most excited about, and I'm still excited about, is the South Park game. And that kind of led me to watch 6 Days to Air, the making of South Park, yesterday on Netflix. And it's only a 45-minute documentary, but it was really good. I definitely recommend people check it out. It's really amazing to see how they go from, nothing to an episode in those 6 days, and literally, like, turning in the finished product at 9 a.m. on the day that it's supposed to air. It's kind of incredible. And, I think my favorite part was, like, actually hearing, like, Trey and Matt, doing the voice recording. Cause they're in the room together, and they're so, they still love that show so much, and it's like after every line, they have to, like, do a double take because they start laughing. And I think that's just really cool. They've been doing the show for so long. They're guys in their 40s now, but they're still, still really love what they do and really get a kick out of, feeding off of each other's energy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's funny. I actually just watched the I think 3rd episode. They're like doing the first few episodes over and over on, I think it's the U or something like that. And it's interesting to see how far they've come because I still keep up with it. But like going back to like when that first came out, I was probably in like 2nd grade and wasn't supposed to watch it, but watched it. It was like so edgy. And to see like what was edgy about it, like at the beginning, Cartman getting an anal probe, like.
Yeah, I can't even watch like the first few seasons anymore because they've come so far.
I know.
The animation, but also the storytelling and the fact like, when something happens in the news these days, I'm like, oh, I can't wait until South Park gets a hold of that.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be amazing.
Yeah, now it's all about social commentary, but at first it was just like these things from places that you've never seen before are coming to scare South Park.
Yeah. And and it was very much more about shock value at the beginning, where now it's like the shock stuff is more of just like, it's kind of the seasoning on the show where really the meat of it is the social commentary.
Yeah, it's the Terrence and Phillip of it all.
So definitely recommend that. I actually watched a lot of documentaries on Netflix yesterday. I kind of had a Netflix day. So going back to wrestling, you guys should also watch the CM Punk documentary because it's one of the few WWE made documentaries where they kind of just lay it all out and treat wrestling as the business that it is and let you kind of really see behind the curtains, and hearing how much of him is legit as far as his persona and stuff, like the straight edge stuff, like that's the lifestyle that he's had his whole life, is really kind of illuminating. And even if you don't like wrestling, but you're curious about the whole thing, like it's a really interesting documentary to watch. So mm-hmm. I was in a big documentary mood the other day. I also watched This Film Has Not Yet Been Rated, which is a good look at the MPAA and what a shadowy organization it is.
That's the Kirby Dick documentary, right?
I think so.
This film is not yet rated. Yeah, it's Andy Dick's brother.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I guess I can kind of see the resemblance.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was illuminating.
It's really good. I like when every time they bring in John Waters to talk.
Oh yeah, he was fantastic.
Yeah, he's fucking brilliant. I love him so much.
Brilliant.
Oh.
Oh man, I gotta see Zero Dark 30 again.
I still gotta see that.
Fuck, it'll be my third time.
Wow.
It's
Man.
so good. It's
If only I had a holograph image of you that you could come with me.
and I would just put my arm around you, or I put my hand on your knee.
And it would go right through, and I would feel like
It would tingle.
it would be
It's
like
so
a movie.
good.
Have
It's
you
so
seen
good.
the show when the guy puts his hand inside of her and she starts to have an orgasm? It's like
Sorry, I just got a really strange image of the two of you and that pottery scene from Ghost.
And I'm Swayze. Sweet. This is the one time in my life where I'm Swayze. Oh man.
yeah.
So,
All right, I'll see you guys later.
drop the mic. I don't think we can do any better than that.
Fuck.
Oh man, does anybody else have anything to say?
Well, you could put it in your spank bank and smoke it.
Whoa! That was offensive. Oh my god.
Yeah, I think we've probably exhausted the
Someone
tank.
just died in the background in Patrick's house. Someone just hacked up a lung and died. Shit.
It was this podcast, actually.
Oh.
No, I kid. I think this was a fun episode.
Mom!
Your mom! The big
Looking for you, Mom!
I don't even know what she's doing in there. Mental health!
She's just hanging out for the week, that's all.
It would have been awesome if you were like, Mom! Shut the fuck up! We hear you get up and you go and slap her. That'd be hysterical.
Yeah, it must be really gainy. I thought I turned that stuff off.
It's alright. We like it when you're gainy.
Ooh. MC Gainey from Lost?
I have been watching a lot of Lost.
MC Gainey? Sorry, I got really excited.
I actually, it's funny because of your character on, New Vegas, Rob, because I got a crush on Michelle Rodriguez in season 2 of Lost.
I've had a crush on Michelle Rodriguez since fucking Girl Fight. She's awesome. It sucks that she's a lesbian.
Is she officially? I would.
She's been with, whatever, the female fucking Terminator forever.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah. T-A whatever.
That's her name.
I don't know, it was something. What was it? The TI-88? The fucking TX-301?
Yeah, the graphing calculator. That was the...
She's the Texas Instruments 33.
She's like one of those machines.
Remember that movie? That movie was shit until the end. The fucking third Terminator movie, when the nukes start flying, that's the only good part of that whole movie.
The Rise of the Machines.
Which, is that the one with Christian Bale? I have it right next to me. Hang on.
No, that one was Salvation.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's Terminator Salvation.
That's a decent one.
Yeah, that one's terrible.
That one, well, you probably know, Rob, that it was originally not supposed to be about John Connor.
Yeah, it was supposed to be about, the Terminator. The robot.
And that would have made a much better and more interesting movie. Like, there's parts of that movie that don't make any sense. Like, why would you jump out of a helicopter into the ocean to get onto a submarine to talk to John Connor? How do you do that? That doesn't make any sense.
There's the original ending to that movie was really creepy and twisted, and it actually paints Skynet and Cyberdyne in a very different light than we've ever seen before. The original ending was that John Connor, with the robot dude's heart, goes to where their factory is or whatever, where they're making the T-88s, the Schwarzenegger version of the Terminator. And it turns out it's not a factory at all, but what they're abducting the humans for is to prevent them from fucking up the rest of the world. So you see humans sitting by, like, beachside and sitting by the pool and just, like, enjoying their life. So all this throughout the entire narrative of Terminator, humans versus machines, the machines are bad, the humans are good. Well, this turns it on its ear, and it's like, no, the humans are actually the bad ones, and the machines are actually trying to save the world.
Mm. So I like that. It's too esoteric for mass media, though.
Oh no, they wouldn't have dug it. I mean, it's a little Matrixy when you think about it.
That's what I was thinking.
But and it wasn't even supposed to be what's his face? The kid from Avatar, the dude from Avatar, Sam Worthington. It was supposed to be Josh, what's his fuck? The kid from the Goonies that was just in Gangster Squad.
Brolin?
Oh, yeah, Josh Brolin.
Whoa.
From the Goonies.
Josh Hartnett?
Josh Hartnett. No, it's Josh Brolin. I love Josh Hartnett. I was watching Black Dahlia for like 5 minutes before I went to bed last night. The end.
5 minutes. You were just like, I want to watch a movie. I'm just, okay, that's good. 5 minutes. Bedtime.
It was bedtime, and I love that movie. It's probably one of my favorite serial killer movies, but like, it's lengthy, and I just didn't have the attention span for it at the time.
Or now.
I don't have it now either.
And listeners, you probably don't have the attention span to listen to us talk much longer. So
See ya.
I think we're going to wrap this up.
They're still listening at all.
Hopefully. Hopefully you enjoyed this meandering episode of Nerds Without Pants. I did. I had a lot of fun. Did you guys have a lot of fun?
Mm-hmm.
I had a lot of fun.
Oh, I had heartburn.
I don't think Rob had a lot of fun, but we had fun with Rob.
I did. I had a good time tonight. It was really fun.
Excellent.
I'm not wearing pants.
Well, of course you're not wearing pants. It's in the title.
Or underwear, for that
matter.
All I'm wearing is my Batman Snuggie. Right now.
That's a mental image I don't need.
Ass is actually cold from being on the seat. Because, little known fact, listeners, I sit in a rocking chair when I'm on the computer. The other day, for those who care, I wrote all of my articles naked.
People do care. You should actually put that in the byline. Written naked by Rob O'Tone.
So I wrote an article for Chud, totally naked. I wrote 2 articles for LongIsland.com, totally naked. And I wrote an article for Dance Papers, totally naked. And I don't know. You know what started it? One of the writers at Chud, this guy Tim Kelly, who and I'm just gonna say this because he doesn't listen, so I wasn't the biggest fan of his to begin with, but over the year that I've been talking with him more and reading his stuff, I get him now, so I really like his stuff. It's weird, but he posted on Facebook. He was like, just so everybody knows, everything I've written today, totally in my underwear. I was like, shit, I usually do that. I'm gonna up you one, and then boom, naked.
And oddly enough, I think the more entertaining thing to me is the fact that you write in a rocking chair, because I think that's how you get that nice amount of crotchety old man into your articles.
Have crotchety old man in my articles? Seriously?
No, you don't.
Oh man, I was hoping I did. Fuck. I gotta work harder at that now. I'll drink some Ovaltine or some old man drink before I do it.
There you go. Get regular.
You can make Ovaltine anymore?
Yes, they do. I remember seeing an ad for it not too long ago.
Awesome. I need it. Listeners, my birthday's coming up. Ovaltine.
Roundine.
All right.
Patrick sitting back listening to the mayhem that's going on right now.
Yeah, and he's the only one. I apologize, listeners, for the end of the show. But that's going to do it for this episode of Nerds Without Pants. Of course, you can find stuff from me and Patrick over at pixelbit.com. You can check out Rob's stuff at the different places that he's at. As I said, justpressplay.net for his interesting interviews lately, chud.com for his more gamery stuff.
Gamery stuff. And longisland.com. I figured I would take that one from you.
Yeah, that's fine. You're the Long Island guy anyway.
Yeah.
And Rob, where can they find you on the Twitters?
At Robert O'Tone, Ottone.
Patrick?
I'm at some boss.
And you can find me at Julian_Titus. Please rate and review us on iTunes if you're so inclined. Maybe not this episode, maybe last episode. It was a better one. No, I kid. This is a good episode. Also, check out our other podcasts over at Pixelbit. They are doing Darksiders over at Backloggers Anonymous if you want to play along with that. And, hey, guess what? We got through a whole episode without mentioning Mass Effect. Oh,
Fuck, you blew it.
Damn it. But, that's gonna do it for this episode of Nerds Without Pants. For myself, Rob, and Patrick, keep it pantsless, Internet.
Adios.
That was good.
We went off the rails with that one. I like it.
Yeah.
I forgot to say goodbye.
Oh.
That should be the outtake.
I'll actually splice that into the end. So.
Patrick all lonely going, I forgot to say goodbye. The other night, I went to 2 bars the other night, and the first one I went to was fucking terrible. It was like a nightclub. It was horrendous, and that's when I posted that thing on Facebook. I was like, I'm way too old for this shit. And then, and I said it like Danny Glover, too, from Lethal Weapon, for those who know.
Mm-hmm.
But then we went to this other bar, and I got a little drunk. I punched a woman.
Shut up.
I didn't really. Imagine if I did. How horrible would that be?
That would be completely horrible. I don't know if I'd be able to talk to you anymore.
No, I did. I ended up having fun. I was drinking rum and cokes all night.
Ooh.
I don't know. It's not a bar person.
There's tons of Japanese imports and stuff like that. Like I'm getting this Neon Genesis Evangelion Eva 2 real action hero action figure.
It's a lot of words.
Yeah. It's also a lot of money.
Hi, this is TW. This is not my house. I was just preparing an egg breakfast. It's not my house. This is not my house.